What's up? It's Whitney, bro. And for today's video, I was inspired by my friend Tina's palette pairing series. She combines two palettes that have a complementary color story and uses them to do a look. So I thought it'd be fun to do my take on that. And the palettes I'm using today are the Edge of Reality eyeshadow palette from KVD, which looks like this on the inside. I'm also going to be pairing that with the Natasha Denona bronze palette, which looks like this on the inside. I love using these two palettes together because of the wide array of shimmers that this palette has and the neutral tones in the Natasha Denona palette. For primer, I'm going to be using the bperfect Cosmetics Perfect Prime. I absolutely love this stuff. I don't know if they have multiple shades, but this one says Omnis. It's the shade I use it in. So I'm going to go ahead and get the eye primer on and let it set. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the shade Suntan right here. Next up, in the Edge of Reality eyeshadow palette, I'm going here with the shade Simulate, the dark brown that's in this palette. And we're just going to take that and use that to further deepen up the crease from the Suntan shade. Now with the Natasha Denona palette, I'm going to go ahead and go into the shade True Copper right here. And I'm just going to put that right alongside the darkest shade on the outer V. Now that I have that shade placed where I want, we're going to go back into the Edge of Reality palette, and I'm going to be using the shade Oculus as well as the shade Immersion. I'm going to go in again with Oculus and do that just barely in front of the darker shade. Really, really soft shimmers. I think this palette's discontinued, but if you can get it, it's a beautiful, both palettes have beautiful textures. We've got that on both eyes. Now we're going to go into Immersion. We get that really nice gradient going from lightest to darkest. A very wearable neutral look, but with a little bit more pizzazz in it than the bronze palette is able to offer on its own. Going into the shade Simulate. I've been loving using an angled brush like this to really get underneath my eye. It's made smoking out my lower lash line way easier and way quicker because it's like it fits in there in a way that other brushes just aren't able to. The goal of this series is you don't want it to look like you've used two different palettes. That's why if you look at my eyes, they look very cohesive as though I could have just used one palette. You don't want something to look like it's been mismatched, although you have, and that's half the fun. For my base makeup today, I'm using a mix of the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer and the Auric Glow Lust Radiant Luminizer. I'm going to add a little bit of the LA Girl Soft Matte in, just because this is a little warmer than I want it to be. I need it to be a little bit more neutral. See, that color in the middle is what we're going for, not what's on the outside. So we gotta mix everything to get everything. Then next up, I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I actually really hate this concealer, so don't let me using it right now in a video fool you. This is what I like to call my content concealer, in order to avoid using up the product I do love on an everyday basis. I'm just going to use this for the purpose of filming this video. And we'll even put a little bit of ColourPop in there too. Just a little bit right in there. All right. And we're just going to go ahead. It's kind of a damp beauty blender. Not really, but we're just going to go ahead and blend it out. Doing this video with the palette pairings has also inspired me to use more of my collection and to really find the beauty in what I already own. And by putting two palettes together, I can get more use out of both of them than I would have one by itself. Gonna go back into the Blend Bunny Forget Me Not palette, and I'm gonna use the shade Pitch Perfect right here as a bronzer. And I discovered this specific palette on accident. It's actually being discontinued, but in a couple videos back, or couple, one, maybe, whatever. Ooh, child. That's why they call it makeup artist, because sometimes shit don't pan out like you thought it was gonna, and you gotta know how to improvise. Concealer sponge, we're going to go back under and just sharpen everything up. And same with on the other side. I'm going to go back into that shade A Moment and really let it brighten up that under eye. And this is the Perfect setting brush. They market it as a highlighting brush. Highlighting? No, they market this as a blush brush, but I think it's way better for powder than it is for blush. Blush it is not stiff enough. We're going to go right back into that initial shade that we used from the KBD palette with our angled brush and re-smoke out the under eye now that it's all powdered underneath. Now going in with the shade Tropical Queen from the Tammi X Revolution palette, and I'm just going to start gently buffing that into the cheeks. We are living for this orange blush right now. I'm just going to do the concealer thing one more time. That's just to make sure we've cleaned up any excess that got away from us. For my lip, I'm going to go in with a darker brown. Just around the perimeter. You can't buy this anymore. The new version of it would be the e.l.f. O-Face lipsticks. They replaced these, unfortunately. Then we're going to go into the Makeup Revolution and Soph collab lipstick called Fudge. I hope you can still buy this because I'm running low and I don't have a backup. But my luck, you probably can't. and go in with that right on top. It's pulling everything together. I'm going to grab the Essence Lash Princess Mascara and go ahead and do a coat of that. Alright guys, this is the finished look for my palette pairings video. I had a lot of fun putting these two together, and I really would love to know what combinations you guys try or what your go-tos are. Definitely let me know in the comments. Makeup companies, of course, want us to buy, spend, but new doesn't always equal better, and sometimes we have what we wanted and what we needed in our collection the entire time. We just needed to look at it through a different lens. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!